It's on now? Yeah. All right, well, y'all can go take your positions and just get started.
Just go ahead and start.
I don't know what I did. I did nothing.
Maybe so I can start getting these jitters out. Maybe I can just start.
Got 'em right. You shouldn't have them jitters. You should know exactly what to say.
Man.
It should be like, we ain't under the law, we're under grace, and that's absolutely correct.
All right.
Covenant thing might be wrong with us. I don't know if you still want to say that, but
Smooth sounds good. Okay.
no, we don't.
Now I think we're going to just go ahead and start it off, brothers.
Hey, yo, Chris. You gonna count us in?
You can start.
Like you said.
Streaming.
All right. Welcome to Bible in Plain View, where we here at the Israel Church of Jesus, every third Sunday we have a lesson. Brothers come in and teach. We have a lesson where we open up the Bible at its clearest form, try to give you understanding, Father, through the scriptures in its simplest form. All right, I'm Brother Ira. This is Brother Arthur. All right, we're going to start my lesson today is the law or grace, under the law or under grace. All right, we're going to start off at John chapter 1 and verse 17. John chapter 1 and verse 17. And when we get there, wait one second, let me get there first. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ.
All right, the law is given by Moses, not that he was the one that came up with it. He was just the administrator for it. God was the one that dictated the law to Moses. Moses was the intercessor. He gave it to the people. All right, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. All right, and we're going to look and see what this grace, which is unmerited favor, a little bit of mercy and time for you to get back to keeping the law. Because there's doctrines out here that's letting you know that's telling you, these false doctrines, that you don't have to do anything no more. Jesus came and did it all. But the Bible lets you know, the contrary to that. It's just that he gives you time to get back in line with the law. And we're going to come and look at some of this. So it says, for the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ for the law. So is the law bad or anything? Let's find out. Romans 7:7. Brother, go ahead and read. I'm sorry, when you get there, go ahead and read.
What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law has said, thou shalt not covet.
So listen, we need the law, brothers and sisters, because we don't know how to live. We don't know what's right. We don't know what's wrong unless we're taught. And God took the time to give his laws, his holy statutes, his commandments in order for us to live, to know what was good, how we could be accepted in there. Skip down to verse 12 and read that.
Wherefore the law is holy.
The law is holy.
And the commandment holy.
The commandment is holy too. Go ahead. And what else?
And just and good.
All right, now, let's go look at this because we're going to see. Go to Exodus chapter 31 and 12 because we're going to see that the law is holy, the commandment is holy and just and good. But it's just that during Moses' law, by the law, the letter, actions was taken immediately when the law was transgressed. And we're going to see the difference between when Jesus came and what happened during Moses' time. So let's look at Exodus chapter 31 and 12. Exodus chapter 31 and 12. And when you get there, brother, go ahead and start reading.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
What do you say?
Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying.
Who spoke unto Moses, brother?
And the Lord spake
All
unto
right,
Moses.
so we're letting you know that the Lord spake unto Moses. Moses didn't come up with this, but he's just the intercessor. God speaks through the intercessors or the administrators of the law. All right, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Go ahead.
That you may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
The Lord sanctifies you. The Lord is what separates you. He separates you. All right, you don't separate yourself. All right. So he said, verily, or mean surely, you should keep my Sabbaths, for it's a sign between me and you throughout your generations. It's a sign to the Lord that you are in fact listening and obeying what he's telling you to do. You're not going to come up with your own interpretation. You ain't going to come up with your own way of serving the Lord. like they do on Sunday. The Lord said, keep my Sabbath day, which is the seventh day of the week. You know what? The Sunday people say, we're going to keep the first day of the week. You're finding out you're doing your own righteousness. And the Lord, you know, you're not none of his. You do so. All right. Verse 14.
You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you.
So it's holy unto you. We heard the commandment is holy, just and good. Go ahead.
Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
So this is the punishment. Everyone that defiles this is going to be surely put to death. Go ahead.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
All right, so for whosoever shall do any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. So now let's go take a look at this. Numbers. Let's go to Numbers. Chapter 15. Because if you break this law, brothers and sisters, the Lord is telling you, listen, somebody's going to get put to death. And let's take a look at it. Numbers 15 and 32. Brother, when you get there, go and read.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
Hold on. Now, we just read that, you know, you ain't supposed to do no work on the Sabbath day. And if a person get found doing work on the Sabbath day, then guess what? It's punishable by death. But we're going to see what happens. Go ahead.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation.
All right, so go ahead, keep on.
And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done to him.
All right, so they put him in, you know what I mean? Well, look, what are we going to do? Now, if this was just Moses' law, then Moses should have had the answer and did what he wanted to do. But guess what? Moses was the administrator. God gave it to him, so he went right back to the person that gave it to him. So what did he do?
And the Lord said unto Moses,
What the Lord said?
The man shall be surely put to death.
There it is. That's a sentence.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
All right, so the Lord have a way of, you know, removing evil out of the camp before it becomes, you know, one bad apple spoils the bunch, and other people do it. So God would remove that sternly, quick. Let's go take a look at something else. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 22. See, at the end of the law of Moses, something had to die. All right? 22 and 22, brother. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
All right, because that's evil. If a man, it just says right here, if a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shall thou put evil away from Israel. Because listen, man, if the woman currently, she knows she married and she lay with the man, not that if somebody get raped or anything, nah. If she knows what she's doing, guess what? Her and that man is supposed to die. That's what the law say. That's what the law say. So, you know, we're going to see when Jesus came, you know, he gave some mercy. He didn't take away from the law. He said he came with grace and with truth. So he's going to give you mercy so that you can get back in line. But then he's also going to give you that truth. He's going to stay right with the truth and tell you, you know, get right. We're going to take a look at this grace, and we're going to take a look at this grace right now. Go to John chapter 8. John chapter 8 and verse 3. Brother, when you get there, go ahead and read.
And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act.
In the very act. Go ahead.
Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned.
Yeah, now, and then we seen that, you know, they know what it was at the time. But these people, the Pharisees, you know, they bogus already. They bogus. Because if a woman going to be taken in the very act, well, you know, where the man at? Shouldn't the man be there? You know what I'm saying? The man should be there, right? You know what I mean? It takes two to tango. So now they already bogus. And Jesus knows that they bogus. They're just trying to come and trip them up, you know what I mean? But do you take anything away from the law? We're going to see some of this mercy and some of this grace being in effect. All right, so read verse 4, brother.
They say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou?
All right, what did Jesus say? Does he say, nah, you know, I mean, she's under grace, you know what I mean, don't worry about it? What did Jesus say? Go ahead.
This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him.
Yeah, because they know they're trying to always accuse Jesus, get him caught up. But keep going.
But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not.
So they looking here. They trying to get this woman stoned and seeing if Jesus is going to say anything against the law. But he just sitting down. I could probably imagine this. He's just sitting down here while they sitting here railing off at the mouth. He just writing on the ground. You know what I mean? Saying what's good. Let me see what's happening. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen, brother?
So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
So, that's what the law says. So he ain't take away from the law. That's exactly what the law says. You know what I mean? He's supposed to stone her. But here, I'm going to give you one better. If you without sin, he who is without sin, you cast the first stone. You do that. See, because the laws back in the day, the laws were set up with a righteous nation. You know what I mean? Sin could not be in that nation. So, when they're walking around and they're doing things correct in front of the Lord, then you can take somebody and stone them. But but Israel's been wicked. They was wicked. They under captivity to the Romans right now during this time. So let's see what he says. So when they continue asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone at her. And then again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. All right, fine. If you clear and you straight, then you cast the stone. And then he stooped right back down and continued doing what he's doing. And what did the men being convicted of themselves, what did they think? What happened to them?
And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Have no man condemned thee?
Go ahead.
She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee.
So now,
Go and
right
sin
here,
no more.
so let me tell you. So Jesus right here, he said, look, he lifted up the people that came to accuse her, one by one, they started going away. And when Jesus looked up again, he said, listen, man, look, woman, where are thou accusers? He said, Lord, I see none, right? He said, well, neither do I accuse you. That was some grace right there. Because by the law, she should have been stoned along with the man. But guess what? Jesus gave her grace right here. You know what I mean? But then also, he going to come and give her some truth. Did he take away from the law? No. He going to give her some truth also. At verse 11, what did he say?
She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Go and sin no more. You know what I mean? You right there. That's the law right there. You can't, no more sinning. All right? Let's go a little bit further. Go to Romans 6. See, Jesus just gave us a little time to get this thing back right because we all have sinned. We all have fell short of the glory of God. All of us have before we came into the truth. I done broke the Sabbath many a day. Going out on Friday nights, when playing cards, sleeping with different women and everything, before I knew the truth. And Lord, just because the Lord didn't kill me, right then, he gave me an opportunity to get back in line with him. He gave us all opportunity to get back in line. He's showing grace, the long suffering of the Lord. And by rights, he was justified by killing us. He's justified in killing us. But thank God that he gave us mercy. That was that grace. All right. Romans chapter 6. And we got a question. Paul's posing a question here. You know what I mean? People like to go to Paul's right and try to get a carte blanche to get away from the law. But let's see what Paul says. Chapter 6 and verse 1. Brother, when you get there, go ahead and read.
What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound?
All right, look. Should we continue in sin that grace may abound, that mercy may abound? What is the answer?
God forbid.
Go ahead.
How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know you not that so many of us as were baptized into Jesus Christ were baptized into his death?
Go ahead. So now when you baptize in Jesus Christ, that old man is dying. That's dead. That's in the ground. When you get up, you walk in the newness of life, no longer breaking the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. You walk in the newness of life. So he's saying, look. So, should we keep sinning so that we can have this grace? Nah. Verse 4, brother.
Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death,
Go ahead.
that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life.
That's right, because what we're hoping for, we're hoping to be raised up so we can get that spiritual body, man, that Christ got. We're doing all this so that we can get this resurrection. We're hoping for the resurrection, brothers and sisters. Verse 5.
For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection.
Come on.
Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin.
That's right, and we shouldn't. So we crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed. That old man need to be destroyed. That's why we get baptized, brothers and sisters, so that we can know, we come to the knowledge and the understanding that, you know what we have been doing before we got baptized was breaking God's holy laws and commandments. So we're going to put that old man to bed. When we get in that water, we put that old man to bed and we walk up in newness of life, brothers and sisters, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So that's the way you're supposed to do. You're supposed to live like he did. He was obedient to the Lord. We saying that we're going to be obedient when we get up out of that water to his law, statutes, commandments, so that we henceforth not serve sin. Skip down to verse 14.
For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace.
Oh, man, here we go, man. Now we're now under the law again. Sunday people like to come to this and be like, well, see, this is what it is, man. We're not under the law. We're under grace. Like grace is a carte blanche for you not to do the law. But they don't understand that. What are they talking about? We're not under the law of what? Sin and death. We're going to read it, though. Go to 15.
What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but
What'd he
under
say?
grace? God forbid.
Skip over to verse chapter 8, brother. Go to chapter 8 and verse 1.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus have made me free from the law of sin and death.
All right, because at the end of that law, the letter of the law is death. But Christ is going to make you free from that when you believe that he was the propitiation or the payment for that sin. And you walk keeping these laws, keeping these ordinances, and trusting in the blood of Christ that you know what? That was that payment, brothers and sisters. Not that you don't have to do no works. Not that because you under grace and the Lord didn't kill you, the Lord showed you mercy, that you're free to go ahead and, I can just, I can go kill now. I can go commit adultery now. We seen by the law, the letter of the law, what will happen to that. We seen that when the woman in John chapter 8, when she had broken the law, what Christ said to her. Hey, where are your accusers? I don't accuse you no. The accuser's gone. Well, neither do I accuse you. That was that mercy. That was that grace. And then he told her, go and sin no more. Keep the law. You have to have both of them. Are you under law or are you under grace? You're under both, because guess what? You need grace in order to go ahead and work out these laws. Go ahead, brother. Where are we at? Let me see.
Verse 2. We ended verse 2.
Read the verse 3, brother.
For what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for our sin, condemned sin in the flesh.
All right, so what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. See, brothers and sisters, the blood of bulls and goats couldn't do it for us, brothers and sisters. Lord needed that sacrifice. He needed that man to come here and be that perfect sacrifice. And we're going to get to it and we're going to read it. Skip down to, go to Hebrews chapter 10. See, the blood of bulls and goats, that was weak, man, through the flesh, man. It was just a temporary stay to fix. Chapter 10, verse 1, brother.
For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect.
See, it couldn't make you perfect. You know what I mean? The Lord didn't have no pleasure in that. All right? So skip to 4.
For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sin.
And see, and that's what had to happen, brothers and sisters. Our sin needed to be taken away. All right. So, that, when you're not under the law of sin and death, brother, that sin had to be taken away. But it does not tell you that you don't need to keep the law. All right. Read verse 5.
Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me.
That's right. Sacrifices and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. Why? Because that body had to be that perfect sacrifice. Keep reading, brother.
In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure.
Go ahead.
Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me.
Go ahead.
To do thy will, O God. Above, when he said sacrifice and offering, and burnt offerings and offering for sin thou wouldest not, neither had his pleasure therein, which are offered by the law.
See, because the Lord don't have no pleasure. The innocent goat and the innocent lamb, that didn't do anything, man. That didn't do anything. Adam was the one that sinned. Man sinned. So Jesus had to come and be that perfect, be in the body, live this life the right way, keep the laws of God, be obedient to it, and then be offered up for sin. Okay, go to 2 Corinthians. We need that grace and we need that truth, brother. That grace is just mercy, brothers and sisters, to keep us so that we can get back in line with the law. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Let me get there. And when we get there, brother, start at verse 5.
Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God.
All right, so that's, we don't trust in ourselves, brothers and sisters. God is the one that gives us our commendation. He's the one that helps us. He's the one that helps us through all this. Go ahead.
Who also have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter.
Not of the letter, why?
But of the Spirit.
But of the Spirit. Why not of the letter?
For the letter killeth.
The letter killeth, man. At the end of the law, something had to die. That's why I said at the first covenant, which was that law of Moses, at the end of that, something died. Immediately, the letter of the law, someone had to die. But when Jesus came, he gave you a little bit of grace. Not that that you had to not keep the law, but he's going to give you a little bit of time to get back. I'm sorry. Not that you don't have to keep the law, but he's going to give you a little bit more time to get you in, so that you can get in order and get yourself right, so you can get yourself up from underneath that sin that got you into the position that you was in. So now keep reading, brother.
But the Spirit giveth life. Mm-hmm. But if the ministration of death,
talking about Moses' position, go ahead.
Written and engraven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel cannot steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious?
Meaning, brothers and sisters, the administration of death, that's what, that first covenant, because something had to die. He said it was glorious. You know what I mean? Moses went on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, you know what I mean? And when he was there, when he came back down, he started glowing. He started getting that glow. He started changing. But, even with that administration, brothers, you know what I mean? Even with that, and that part of the administration, it still was glorious. You still seeing a form of that glory. But now it's saying, but if the ministration of death written and engraven in the stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away with. That glory, this body and this flesh is going to be done away with. How shall not the administration of the Spirit be rather glorious? Meaning, all right, well, what about this administration is going to be none other than Jesus? It's going to be more glorious than that. Because when Jesus comes back, he's going to shine brighter than the sun. And anybody that makes it is going to shine just like them. This body of death is going to be put away. For what? Verse 9, brother.
For if the ministration of condemnation be glory,
all right,
much more does the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory.
That's right.
Righteousness exceeding glory.
All right. So if the administration or the administration of condemnation be glory, you know what I mean? Even with them law, statutes, and commandments back in the day, back when Moses was given it, that was glorious. Because the children of Israel couldn't look steadfastly on his face because he started shining, started changing in front of them, that he had to wear a veil. He said, how much more does the administration, which is Jesus, exceed in glory? Skip down to verse 17. We're going to see.
Now the Lord is that Spirit.
The Lord is that Spirit. The Lord is the one that's going to be the administrator. He came and gave grace and he gave truth, right? And what?
And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
There's liberty where the Spirit of the Lord is, brothers and sisters, because at the end of his administration, you do this right. He gave you grace and he gave you truth, and you stick to the truth of the word of God. Then guess what? When at the end of this, you're going to be just like him. But brothers and sisters, you're going to have to, you better get it while the getting is good, because grace ain't always going to be there. It's going to be a time when grace runs out. And we're going to look at this. Go to Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. Verse 26, brother. When you get there, go on and read.
For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin.
So just like Jesus told the woman, look, go and sin no more. He gave her grace. She has some knowledge now. She got some knowledge, right? It says, if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. Jesus said, look, I came and died. Jesus, I died for you one time. That was on me. You go this time, you go against the truth this time, then you got to pay for it. But what's waiting for him, brother?
But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversary.
Verse 28.
He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses.
See, we've seen that, right? You've seen at the end of Moses' law, somebody had to die. The man that picked up the sticks, you know what? Guess what? He got stoned to death. A woman that transgressed, a man that transgressed God's law, you know what? They supposed to get stoned. All right? So he that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Go ahead.
Of how much sore punishment, suppose ye, shall he be thought worthy, who have trodden under foot the Son of God, and have counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and have done despite unto the Spirit of grace?
Into the Spirit of grace, huh? So I thought once we was under grace, once saved, always saved, I'm good. So that ain't the case, brothers and sisters. You might want to reconsider and think about your position on what you feel about grace. Does grace nullify the law? No, it does not. No, it doesn't. All right. Of how much sore punishment, suppose ye, shall ye be thought worthy, who have trodden underfoot the Son of God, and have counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing. That's what he's like. You took my blood. You took my mercy, and it was nothing. I came down here and I got beat to a bloody pulp, unrecognizable, spit upon, mocked upon, unjustly lied upon, and you took it and said it was nothing. I can go ahead and do what I want to do. The Lord said, how much of sore punishment? You think the getting stoned was bad. What do you think is going to happen when you do this to the Lord? He says, the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified, an unholy thing, and have done despite unto the Spirit of grace. Verse 30.
For we know him that hath said, vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people.
That's right.
It is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living God.
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Brothers and sisters, listen, are we under grace? Are we under the law? Most definitely. We're not under the law of sin and death, brothers and sisters. We are under the law. We are under the law to do it, to keep the law. Are we under grace? Yeah, because you needed the grace to get you to keep the law. I'm going to end it off with let's see, with one more verse. Matthew chapter 5. Got you. If ever you get to think that, maybe I don't need the law, let's hear from the horses, from the master's mouth. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. Brother, when you get there, go ahead and read.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
Come on.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Keep going.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.